I'm a little late, but I'm here now, so let's get with it. Let's get with it. Let's get with it. Let's get with it. So, how's everybody doing? I hope you're doing great. So, listen up. I do apologize. I think there's a couple of minutes of delay, but I'm here now, and this video is going to be saved and available for you to share with your friends. So, after the video, you can actually ping it and share it to as many people as you want to share it with. So number one, this is a Lose Your Mind channel. This is a Lose Your Mind channel. Lose Your Mind. We're focused on unlearning, undoing, and re-educating the mind so that we can actually produce better results. I truly believe growing up, I experienced so many different people, so many different challenges through events in my life, but also I encountered some amazing people, some great teachers who taught me things that I believe have culminated to bring me to a place where I am right now in my life. And I think it's really important that we learn to share. I often say to people, sharing is free. You can just teach anybody anything. There's lots of people out there that don't have the information you have, they don't have the gift that you have, they don't have the skills that you have. So it's always important that you share these skills. So just a little bit about my background. My name is Danny, as most of you know me, but real name is Dunstan Mugarura. I'm a business person, I'm an entrepreneur, I've run businesses in so many countries. I've lived in over 10 countries around the world, and I have a vast experience and knowledge about how to build businesses from scratch and sort of make it into something phenomenal. Now, that's because I am a master at failure. I have mastered failure. I've mastered how to fail. And through that process of mastering failure, I was able to learn how to actually be successful. So in essence, what I'm saying is this can happen to you. And for most of you, you're probably already experiencing some of these things. You're already very successful in your industry. So I want to share with you what changed, when I got into business, because most people have a job. Most people start their work life looking for something to pay the bills. And then, of course, they eventually realize that once you pay the bills, then what? You feel empty, you feel vacant. You need to have a bit more purpose and drive in your life. So this is where we come in. So there's some beliefs that you've been taught that have actually led you to think the way you think. There's some people you've encountered in your life that have been great teachers. And in most cases, a lot of the times, some of these teachers are not really the right teachers. They're not going to be the right people to teach you the stuff that you need to know. And let me explain why. Just because it's your father, your mother, your uncle, it's your religious leader, it's an elder in the family, it doesn't qualify them to actually teach you the subject that you're seeking information for. So it's really important that you identify, is this person the right person to teach me this particular subject? There's a reason we go to school and we don't ask our parents to teach us algebra, because perhaps that's not their area. But through discipline and sometimes our culture beliefs, we're taught to believe that whatever your elders say, that's the truth. And in most cases, it's not. So I want to show you how you can start to unlearn and undo and reorganize yourself. On my YouTube channel, I want to brainwash you. And somebody sent me a comment saying, dude, what are you doing? You can't brainwash people. Let me tell you what happened to me. At a younger age, when I started my career in business, I met so many people that say to me, you're stupid. My coach was a guy called Dominic Kataski and another guy called Christian Yakos. Those are the two guys that really built my career in direct sales and then eventually into business, into what became, global businesses. Now, the reason I say that is a friend of mine I was talking to said to me, those guys are Americans. They're going to brainwash you. They're going to really, really just take you to town and use you. And then eventually, once they make all the money, you'll be just, chucked to the curb. And I say, wow, That's amazing. And then I realized, and I was talking to Dominic, I realized, I thought, wow, this guy is actually brainwashing me. And it was beautiful. So I said, if this is what brainwash is, I want to give him the sponge, the soap, the water, everything, so he can really, really cleanse everything out of my system, because I had limited beliefs. I had, beliefs that caused me to question myself, to question my environment, to question my background, to say, can I really be that person? Can I really be successful? Can I be financially free? Can I, impact people's lives? Can I make a contribution? Can I build something significant? And those things were not really the norm. So I was so glad that I was brainwashed by these two guys, especially Dominic, and it led me to become the person I've become. So I'm going to attempt to do that. The topic today is do or die. Do or die. Do or die. You're either dying or you're growing. So you're either dying or you're growing. And this is not something that I plucked out of the air. This is life. It's just how it is. You either are going to be growing or you're going to be dying slowly. You may not drop dead tomorrow, but if you mentally are not stimulated to challenge yourself, to learn new skills every day, to investigate, new ideas, to agitate yourself, to encounter things that you haven't encountered before, you're stagnant. And when you're in a state of stagnation, you're in a state of death. It's okay. It's not that scary. Don't panic. So how do I evaluate growth? In my world, and I'm going to give you 5 tips today that you can look at, and you can actually start to maybe formulate something that will help you start to grow. Growth is abstract. It's really difficult to measure. There's no machine out there that you can stand in and say mentally and psychologically, in terms of your application in life, you've grown. Those things are usually perspective, so growth is perspective, is abstract. It's before it's actually realized in a manifestation where it becomes physical. So you have to understand that. Now, the first thing I had to do is I had to accept myself. I had to say, Danny, you're amazing. I had to learn how to speak life into myself and really, say things about myself that nobody had ever said to me. Because I started realizing, hold on, there's no one out there that's waiting to tell me how great I am. No one is waiting out there to tell me that I can be whatever I want to be. But I had to almost kind of say, I'm just going to start telling myself these lies. And I lied my way into becoming very confident, very outspoken. I lied my way into acquiring a sense of wisdom, in particular subjects. I lied my way into building phenomenal networks, amazing people around the world that I call friends and acquaintances and business partners. I had to almost forge it fast to make it. And I don't want to use the old cliche of fake it till you make it. I sort of don't believe in that. I believe that you have to tell the mind what you want to be so that it can prep you to become that. You have got to accept that you're the happiest person. I'm the most, lovable person. I'm the most confident person. My goodness, I am wisdom. I'm a bundle of wisdom walking. And then in the process of doing that, you start to design that person that's of wisdom. You start to design that person that people just long to, spend time with, in terms of, wow, when I'm in this person's company, I feel fulfilled and it's amazing. You feel so much joy and love and all those things. But those things have to be initially pronounced by you. So you have to speak that into your life, if you like. So accept who you are and accept that you're unique and you're very, very, very different in so many ways, but also extremely special. And if I could just teach that all day, that's what I would teach. Once you've decided that you're good enough, then you need to learn how to say, okay, what do I want to become? Because that's the growth, so this is who I am right now, based on all the knowledge that I've acquired, of all the people that I've gathered with, of all the places I've been, based on my background, based on the things that I've done in the past, this is who I am. Now, this is who I would like to be. That's really tough though, because in most cases, you don't even know. But what I know is, or what I knew is, I knew I wanted to be better than I was. I knew I wanted to have more control over my life. I wanted to have the freedom to choose where I want to go, who I want to go with, what I want to do. I wanted to have the freedom to choose to buy some of the experiences I've bought in my life, some of the things I've acquired in my life. And I knew that to do that, I had to become somebody other than the person I was at the time. So life is not about finding yourself, it's about creating yourself. It's about creating yourself, and that's a really powerful statement. So you need to go to work on manufacturing the person that you want to become. And that's really important, because God gave us the opportunity to be co-creators in this process. So the universe is designed to actually give you access to all of those things. But here's the problem. The problem is we want something and then we get in the way of that something happening to us. So we stop ourselves. We start saying things like, but can it really happen to me? Is it really going to happen? Are you sure? Because I don't know if I can do that. So as you start to pronounce those things, they become your reality. You start lying your way into failure, because failure is also a lie. Success is a lie, the same way failure is a lie. So watch. You might as well, because you're going to lie anyway. You're going to tell yourself you're something that you don't believe you are, but eventually, as you say it more often, it becomes part of who you are, and your brain will start to say, actually, that's who you are. And then as you settle into it, as people start to announce that and say, look, that's Joe. Joe is like, man, this guy's confident. You go, whoa, I didn't know that. So you start to believe it. And then eventually it becomes who you are. You're a confident person, you're a lovable person, you're a go-getter, you're hardworking. Pronounce or mention those things about yourself that you want to become. So that's step number one, okay? I know who I am and I know who I want to be. Or I know who I am, I don't know who I want to be, but I know I don't want to remain this person, because stagnation is death. Remember that, yeah? The second thing you have to do to identify yourself as a person who's growing is to ensure that you're training. Learn. Go and train in a skill that's going to make you better. Let me explain something to you. Most things we take for granted are skill-based. All right, so now I'm gonna go there. Listen. Listening is a skill. Talking is a skill. Thinking big and thinking right is a skill. The minute you don't improve on those things, they stagnate. When you stagnate, growth in the sense of, your psychological stimulation, like you're not really thinking of anything new. If you stop learning how to speak better, if you stop learning how to communicate to others, how to induce the results that you're looking for, you start to stagnate. When you stagnate, you start to plummet. When you plummet, you're dying. So things we take for granted are skills. And skills give you confidence. Skills give you a sense of self-esteem. You start feeling really good about yourself. You say, I'm really good. Now, here's the funny thing. I said to my friend the other day, I said, look, you have muscles. Everybody has muscles. But some people have really strong muscles. And some people have weak muscles. Okay? The difference is we have these basic things, these fundamental things that we're given. That we were born with these specific things. You can breathe, you can think, you can walk, those things. But some people walk strong. Some people walk weak. Some people are so lazy when they walk. Some people know how to use their limbs to actually make a phenomenal living out of that. Athletes do that all the time. So we all have the equipment. We all have the raw material. The problem is we don't know how to use it. You see, at the core, all we are is pure potential. What becomes the product that we become is provoking or agitating that potential into work and using it on a daily basis. So you have got to build skills. You have to build skills. I'm telling you, networking is a skill, meeting people, just go into a crowd of strangers and start talking to them. I'm telling you, it's gonna be nerve-wracking. It's gonna be a little bit different than what you used to, but so what? And then after you do it, you feel so great. Are you still with me? Yeah. If you don't pay attention, you're gonna miss this, and I don't want you to miss this. There's a couple more points I want to make, and then we finish the recording. But let me tell you something. This is powerful. Skills will empower you to become exceptionally good, and as they grow. In terms of, you strengthen your skill set in so many different disciplines, you start to become more confident. You start to give an air of, trust, and people start to rely upon you for certain things. So they say, who's going to deliver that? They say, go talk to Joe. Joe, man, this guy is unbelievable because you have skill. So people ask me this question all the time, man, my self-confidence is low, my self-esteem is down, people beat me down all the time. If you have a skill, I've seen people who are really shy and timid, you put them on the football pitch or you give them an instrument and they transform, they're a completely different person. And I often say to those people, I say, look, what if you can stay in that trance, in that state of mind permanently? They go, man, it would be amazing. They're so euphoric. They're so excited. They feel good. They say, look at me, man. When you put me on the football pitch, you can't touch me. But then they realize that they have the same power to transfer the same belief system, the same confidence, the same euphoric feeling into all different types of, facets of their lives. That's the word I was looking for. So you can take it from a football pitch to a conference room and you can get paid $50,000, $60,000, $100,000 an hour just to come speak to those people. I've seen people who played rugby for a living and then they would come into our conferences and speak and they get paid £50,000 for just 1 hour of speech. Now, if you decided that I'm just a rugby player, I don't want to learn how to speak, you're going to lose that opportunity because eventually your limbs can't function as a rugby player. So you have to do something else. So really work on your skill. Just build on your craft every single day. If you don't use it, you lose it. If you don't use it, you lose it. That's point number 2. Point number three, get familiar with the unfamiliar. Man, this is my favorite subject. People, they call it a comfort zone. I want to make sure that I break my comfort zone. I want to get out of my I want to jump out of my skin. There's so many phrases to describe this. So get familiar with the unfamiliar. Speak to a stranger. In school, they taught you, they say to you, and I think some of the parents do this as well. They say, never talk to strangers. I get that. I teach my kids to do the same. I say, look, if you're going to talk to a stranger, make sure it's a stranger in public where you have lots of people and I have to be there, or somebody that's responsible for you has to be there. I understand that. But we grow up and we don't lose that. Can you guys see me? You still see me? I'm there. Yeah? Yeah? Just send me a love heart or something to say you see me. All right, I think you see me. All right. So listen, very important, yeah? Just get familiar with the unfamiliar. Learn how to engage with strangers. Learn how to, in school they taught us don't copy. Copying is bad. In business I teach people just copy. Isn't it amazing? So I'm saying lose your mind. In school, they say don't click, don't form cliques with people. This is really bad. Clicking, you should always, spend time alone. And there's a lot of power in that, spending time alone. But listen, you need a network. You need to develop a group of friends that are going to be the drivers to your destiny. They're like-minded people that are going to drive you to become really successful. So start, familiarizing yourself with things that you call unfamiliar, things that make you feel uncomfortable. Indulge fear, indulge that feeling of, being sort of in a strange mode where you go, whoa, I've never been here. I love that. I love that. I often, meet people and I disturb them. I meet people on the plane, or, in a lounge, in an airport, and I go, hey, how are you? And they go, great. How are you? I go, I'm great. They go, who are you? I go, I'm Danny. It's nice to meet you. And they go, yeah, do we know each other? I say, no, actually, what's your name? John. Nice to meet you, John. So what do you do? And I start talking to them. Some of these people are my business partners now. So just get, into a space where you start to learn how to do things that are uncomfortable. Pick up an instrument, you feel really nervous about doing that. Do something that will actually sort of agitate you to learn more. And when you get into that foreign feeling, eventually becomes, familiar, and then growth means you have to move away from that. So there's always a graduation. And I believe that growth is eternal. It's something that's going to continue on. It's not something you can say, I've reached the peak of growth. So get used to that. 2. Now, so that's number 3. Number 4, and the last 2, this is a big one. Make fear your friend. Make fear your friend. Love the feeling of uneasiness. It's so beautiful, man. When you feel, nervous and stuff, transfer that into power. That's really, really powerful. Just make fear your friend. I love it when I'm scared. I'm like, man, this is good. What is this telling me? It means I've never been here before. Fear is a feeling of something that's foreign to you. You've never experienced it before. And as you start to really engage it, as you start to confront it, as you start to, learn how to, just really feel it and feel good about it, you start laughing. You start going, oh, I'm so scared. Oh my God. And then before you know, you go, what was I scared about? So usually it's fallacious. It's not really going to do any damage to you other than grow you. So most things that, scare you, in most cases will strengthen you. So just focus on not the familiar all the time. Look for the unfamiliar, indulge fear, and it will grow you. And the last thing, and the most important thing today was this. I want you to listen. This is, oh my gosh. Think of a pond. And I grew up in a place where we had ponds, lots of ponds, yeah? Think of a pond. A pond is beautiful still, it's small, it doesn't scare you. You kind of look at it, you go, if I fall in the pond, I can just jump out. It's not like a big, great lake. So you're excited. You see a pond and you throw in something and the pond is not going to fight back and you almost feel very powerful. So I call it my pond of power. It's a place where I draw all the juice that I need to empower myself. And when you look in the pond, it kind of gives you a reflection. You stand above a pond and you look, and you go, wow, that's me, and you've seen kids do it. Everybody's, sort of comfortable around a pond. So I want you to find a place in your mind where you can start to cultivate that pond of power, where you can go and say, nothing can touch me here. When I'm in my pond of power, this is where I draw my energy. So I often say to people, you put in your most loved people, you put in the things you desire, you put in, this is your moment of, true honesty, because you cannot lie to yourself. You can lie to other people, but you cannot lie to yourself. So, create that pond, that fallacious, it's actually a virtual pond. It's not even a real pond. If you're lucky enough to live near one, just go there every day or every other day and sit down and meditate about what you want to create, the person you want to become, the growth you seek, the conversations you seek, the skill sets you seek, the fears that you sort of harboring in yourself, and you can say, if I did this, man, I would be better. So I want to encourage you to take those 5 things into play and start to undo some of those limiting beliefs. Accept who you are, decide on the person that you want to create, build the skill sets that are required, and then teach other people. Learn how to teach in the process of learning, because that makes you really, really strong. And then of course, get familiar with the unfamiliar And most of all, make fear your friend. I put here, most things that scare you will strengthen you. Don't forget that. And the last thing is, have your pond of power. Where is your pond where you go and you have that water, that pure water? Some of it is spring water, so pure, man. You can see the bottom of the pond that you draw on and you go, this is my place of power. All right? So on that note, guys, lose your mind. Share this video with as many people as possible. So I'm going to salute you and say thank you for your time. I hope you enjoyed this, and I'll see you again very, very soon. So I'm out. That's it. Yes.